Hey guys, today I wanted to give you a look into my pantry because a lot of people ask me, when they hear that I'm on the raw/vegan food diet, one of the things they ask me is like, what's in your cupboards? Like, what kind of food do you have in your house? And so I kind of wanted to give you guys a peek of some typical food, like not just for baking, but just in general, some food that I just always have around. Like normally people like have milk and sugar and things like that. So I'm just going to show you things that I just always keep in my house for just whatever occasion. The first one I'm going to talk about is like most people usually keep eggs in their fridge. They usually have them, just to eat eggs or like in baking. So I had to find an egg replacement. And the best thing that I found, and it's actually Bob's Red Mill. It's flax meal. It's just flax ground up into a floury type consistency. And if you just put 1 tablespoon of this and then 2 tablespoons of water, it turns into this sticky, like kind of like an egg consistency. And it works really good as an egg replacement. Plus, flax seeds are very nutritious, very good for you. The next thing is people always have milk. Like it's very rare that people don't have milk in their fridge. I actually keep a couple different kinds of milk. For one, I love using coconut milk. I'm sure a lot of people see that it's like a lot more popular these days for people to have coconut milk. I use it in a lot of baking because it's very sweet and very delicious. It's one of my favorites. And then the one that I drink more is almond milk because it has a lot more calcium in it than any of the other milks, because almonds naturally have calcium in them, whereas regular cow's milk, they have to add the calcium into it, and so it doesn't naturally produce calcium. So I used almond milk. Like that's the kind of, like if I just want a glass of milk, I'll usually drink this. And then one of the biggest things that people use, especially for baking, is sugar, like just your basic white sugar. I obviously can't eat sugar because I used to be hypoglycemic. So I actually have 3 different things that I use as sugar replacements, and one of my favorite ones, because it just tastes really good, is maple syrup. And it's grade B, it's 100% pure. Like how you know that it's real maple syrup is you just look in the ingredients and it just says pure maple syrup. It doesn't say anything else in the ingredients, and that's how you know that it's just maple syrup and it's not some high fructose corn syrup mixture. One of the other things that I use is agave. I don't use this one quite as much. But occasionally I do use it. Right now I only have blue agave. This isn't my favorite flavor, but it's the only one that I have in my cupboard. Like I said, I don't use agave a whole lot because my husband doesn't like it. So, but it is a sweetener that I do use occasionally. And the main one that I use, this one I probably use more than the other 2, is honey. And I actually use raw honey. And this is from, it says Topanga quality honey. I think that's probably the brand. I actually get this from a local farm nearby, and it's raw honey, meaning it's not processed, it doesn't have high fructose corn syrup added to it. It's honey. And a lot of reading that I've done on getting local honey is that it can help with allergies. And I've actually found that, like, since I've changed my diet, I used to get hay fever quite a bit. But I don't get hay fever anymore, like at all. So it's pretty convenient, and plus it tastes really good. I use it to sweeten a lot of things. But honey's just in general, it's a very flour. A lot of people use, bleached or unbleached white flour. I never use flour or any type of, wheat flour. Instead, I use old-fashioned oatmeal. It's really simple, and it's not that expensive to buy one of these big things of oatmeal. I just throw it in, for however much I want to measure it, put it in a food processor, and I just grind it up so it's flour. And this works just as good as flour. So I use this instead of flour, which is really good. And then I don't eat cereal very much, because most cereals have sugar, they have wheat, they have a lot of stuff that's not food even. And so I found these at Whole Foods. I think that they're the, the Whole Foods brand. I think Whole Foods make this, the Arrowhead Mills. But anyways, this is just puffed wheat. It kind of runs it like you know the cereal Golden Crisp, which was one of my favorites when I was a kid? This is pretty much Golden Crisp. It's basically puffed wheat. It's just wheat, and you look in the ingredients and it literally says puffed wheat. So I usually just put some like coconut milk on this, and then sweeten it with honey, and it reminds me of Golden Crisp. It's really good. And then my husband really likes this one. It kind of reminds him of the corn pops, I think they're called. But these are just puffed corn, and so it's just corn like that's been puffed up and made light, kind of like popcorn. And another thing, a lot of people use vegetable oil, canola oils, things like that. One of the best oils that I've found is coconut oil. There's just a lot of good stuff that you can get from coconuts. You know, the milk, the water, the oils, they're very, very nutritious in all different aspects, and so coconut oil is a really good one to use. And then a lot of people, I mean, I'm not much of a sweet tooth kind of person, but I do occasionally like just want something sweet and something very yummy. And so I keep dried fruit in my pantry, which sounds sad, but it's actually really good, because once you change your diet to raw or vegan or whatever, your body just craves different types of sweet things. And so for me, this is just dried prunes. My husband hates them, but I love them. He likes more of the raisins. I got this big old bag of raisins, and I usually love like dried apricots and things like that. So sometimes if I really want something sweet, these definitely do it, because they are very sweet, but I get the kind that they don't have any sugar added to them. They're just dried fruit, because I call myself like raw vegan. I don't really care about the name. But I also eat cooked foods as well. I don't just stick with raw foods. But I do eat, most of what I eat is raw, like raw fruits and vegetables. But the biggest staple for us is rice. Like I always have like tons of rice on hand. It's just really good. It's like, it kind of replaces our meat as a main dish, like rice, or we use a lot of potatoes. I'll use both of those, are really good as like kind of like something to fill us up with the fruits and vegetables that we eat for our meals. And then instead of butter, I use, this brand is Earth Balance. It's one of my favorites. This one happens to be soy-free. Sometimes I buy soy ones, sometimes I don't. I don't think it really matters, but I just like this brand a lot, and it works really good as a butter replacement. And then the biggest thing that just overflows my refrigerator is fruits and vegetables. Like, I have more fruits and vegetables in my fridge than anything else. Including in my freezer. Like, I have frozen fruit and frozen vegetables. Just, you know, people come to my house and they look at my fridge like, dude, where's the food? Like, this is just fruits and vegetables, but that's like 90% of what I eat. So I hope this helped kind of get an idea of, you know, what it, you know, is to kind of change your diet. Like, you kind of have to go through your cupboards. Like, if you want to change to vegan or raw, you kind of have to just look at your cupboards and be like, I guess I can't eat this anymore. And you kind of just, it's not that you have to just get rid of everything, but replace it with something good, you know? It's not like your cupboards are just going to be bare. You just have to figure out what replaces what. And so, you know, if you are interested in, I hope that this kind of helped you out if you want to maybe just change one thing or kind of change things slowly. Because I definitely recommend, you know, changing to a vegan or raw, or, you know, just a better way of eating so that you can feel better and, you know, live longer. So thanks for joining me. Bye.